This video is not only tailored to dietitians, even though giving y'all props out there, but anyone who's applying for an internship, applying for grad school, applying for a job. These are things that you want to know. So hi everyone, in case you do not know, my name is Kim. I am a registered dietitian. If you like anything that you see on this channel, please go ahead and subscribe. So let's not waste any time and get right into it. The first thing you want to do is to check your social media platforms: Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, and all the other popular platforms out there. The reason for that is whether you're applying for an internship, a school, or a job, the recruiter is gonna look at you. They're gonna try to find out as much information possible about you without actually asking you. I remember a friend of mine was telling me that one of his friends was applying to get into grad school for engineering, and he had put on his Facebook that he likes to blow up things, and guess what happened? He did not get in because it's incriminating. Yeah, you're an engineer. Look at the times that we're living in. You can't say things that are incriminating. So make sure that you check your platforms. Make sure that you have information there that people want to see. The second thing you want to do is to do your proper research on the program, the school, the job that you are applying for. The reason for that is you have an understanding of what their mission statement is, what their goals are, what their pillars are, and you can align your goals directly to the company or to the school or to the internship that you are applying for. The reason why I say this, let's say hypothetically speaking, you get an interview, whether it's over the phone or in person, and they ask you certain questions. They want to make sure that you've done your research on them so that you're not in the interview process looking. They want to see that you're showing interest and you're showing initiative by doing your research first. Third thing you want to do is to make sure that you're dressing properly. Whether you have a face-to-face interview, a video Skype interview, or even a telephone interview, dressing properly makes you feel a little more professional. Now I'm going to use, I probably shouldn't use this, but I'm just going to use this case in point. I've seen there's some videos circulating about some dietetic interns which are applying for their internship right here on YouTube. And I have viewed some of those videos, and I just wanted to say first impressions always tell a lot. So there's some of the dietetic interns which are not dressing properly for their video interviews. I wanted to tell you, do not dress like you're going to bed. Do not dress like you are going to class. Dress like you're meeting somebody very, very important. So you want people to focus on the words that are coming out of your mouth and not what you're wearing. First impressions are lasting impressions, and you have to make a positive first impression. Fourth thing that I think you should do is smile often. Reason why you want to smile is because it gives off, well, for me at least, it makes your voice sound a little more cheery, a little more chippery. Nobody wants a Debbie Downer, so it's just simple smile. Next thing you want to do is to make eye contact. I know when I'm interviewing people for different positions in the department that I'm working for in my hospital, I make eye contact. Now, I'm not saying stare down the person. Don't give them the death stare. But you want to have a nice, soft, yet strong eye contact. Glancing away occasionally, not looking up in the air and rolling your eyes and thinking like you're just pulling something out of thin air. A lot of people can tell when you're making eye contact if you're being honest or not. Which brings me on to the next thing. During the internship process, you may be getting some interviews. Do not lie during the whole entire interview process. If they ask you a question, be very, very honest. People can tell when you're lying. Is this the sixth or the seventh thing? I don't know. I always lose count in these videos. The next thing that you want to do is to prepare yourself for situational interviewing. For instance, what I mean by that, something that I like to do when I do interview people is to ask them, if you were in this situation, what would you do? So there's a whole, I mean, you can easily Google these questions, situational job interviewing or situational internship interviewing questions. And there's a whole host of different questions that come up, and they ask you, what would you do in this situation? So prepare yourself for it. Next thing you want to do is to limit your word usage of is not a word, actually. It's a verbal pause. It can be very distracting, especially if you overuse it. If you use after every 3 or 4 words, that's all the person that you're talking to is hearing, your Something that I've learned to do is to keep silent. Wait a while before answering the question. So instead of saying and thinking about it, I'm silent and I say, okay, and then I respond. Or something else that I do as well, I always repeat the question when I'm responding. So if I get the question, how would you describe yourself? I would respond, I describe myself as a very tenacious person. So you see how I had that little pause, little quick thinking, and then I answered? So do that, don't use It's very distracting. Something else that is very important with first impressions is to be conscientious of your body language. Don't slouch, sit up. Don't cross your arms. Keep your arms to your side. Be as open as possible in your body language. As I've stated before, there's 2 types of communication. Maybe I didn't state this before, but there are 2 types of communication. Verbal communication, which is coming out of your mouth, as well as nonverbal communication that is shown in your face gestures, in your body language. So I know some people like to fidget. Try not to fidget during the whole entire job interview, internship interview, school interview process, because you just look uncomfortable and you're making the person interviewing you uncomfortable as well, like you're in a rush, like you want to leave. The next thing that I did want to tell you is to show up on time. If you have a scheduled interview at 9 a.m., please show up 8:45. You're on time 8:45. In my opinion, and granted this is my opinion, the reason why you want to show up on time is you want to scope out the surroundings. That's something that I like to do. I like to see, okay, what does the facility look like? If I'm not familiar with what it looks like, if I've never seen it in person, I want to scope out, you know, who's working there. I want to scope out who's my competition. So be at least 15 minutes early. Next thing you want to do, I don't know, I'm holding up the number 4, but it's not number 4. But the next thing you want to do is to not speak negatively of any person during the interview process. This just makes you look really bad. Even though you're probably trying to throw shade at someone else, you look very bad. So for instance, if someone says, well, tell me about a time that you had a difficult coworker and how did you handle it, that situational job interview, don't talk negatively of the person, talk about yourself. Additionally, if you get like a C in a class and you didn't retake the class, like I spoke about earlier in one of my videos popping up right now, speak about why you got a C. Tell the truth. Also, don't go out in a full-fledged lie, but turn your weak points into a strong point. Talk yourself up. You got to sell yourself during these interview processes. Another thing that I think you should be aware of is practice the question, tell me a little bit about yourself. Sometimes I feel that this is a trick question. I remember I was interviewing someone and I said to the young man, tell me a little bit about yourself. The young man said to me, well, you know, you already know my name, and I like to sleep, I like to hang out with my friends, I like to go surfing, I like to wake up late. So what is that telling me as someone who's about to hire you? It's telling me a lot of things, a lot of negative things. So the proper way to answer that question, number 1, do your research. Number 2, the way that I would answer that question, I wouldn't say, hi, my name is Kim, I'm a registered dietitian. I've been a dietitian for 5.5 years, going on 6. I went to Florida State University. I double majored in whatever. I had a minor in whatever. No, I'm not gonna say all those things because those things are already on my resume. They're already on my CV. The person can read that for themselves. tell them something unique. I would say something to the effect of, because this is just speaking off the top of my head. Growing up in a typical Caribbean home, I was always taught that health was only linked to physicians and nurses. However, when I realized that health had a lot to do with the nutritional aspect of an individual, I in turn decided to volunteer for 2 years with an underserved population, the Mexican population. And during this time, I realized that the impact of health and blah, 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 blah. So these are things that you need to know if you're applying for a job, if you're applying for school, or if you're applying for an internship. So I hope if you guys have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask me in my description box below. And know that everything I said in this video is not only linked with food and nutrition, dietetics, it's for all professions and any interests that you may have as well. So I thank you guys for watching. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. Bye.